Sure. Well, in 2001, I realized that I was the most stressed person I knew. And I had been a workaholic probably for about 25 years. And when I got to Florida, I thought, oh, I'm going to get to Florida. It's going to be sunny. And I ride a Harley. That's my passion. I like to reconnect with Mother Nature when I do that. And needless to say, my patterns never changed. I moved here and worked 7 days a week. And I was given money to start a new program. And I'm a commercial interior designer by trade. So in 2001, I got here in 98. In 2001, I woke up one day and I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. Like I used to love waking up and going to work and making my clients happy.
Yeah.
But when you abuse your mind, body, and spirit, everything was breaking down. I was overweight. I wasn't sleeping. I was living on sleeping pills for 12 years. It still didn't work. And I went to the beach with another friend of mine and I met a biofeedback therapist. She did quantum physics. I'm like, what is that? And this
Yeah.
was 20 years ago. So she shared what it did, and it was a system that scanned the body and it told her what my stressors were. And then she kind of hit a button and it balanced my energetic field. I knew nothing about this. I was blown away to the point that each month I would have to go by her house. And I did 4 sessions with her. And on the fourth session, I said, I have to have this because what she shared with me was things that happened to me as a child. I had my thyroid taken out when I was 17 years old. That showed up. I was always battling my weight. The doctor was like, just take the pill, push yourself away from the table. And I just kept getting fatter and fatter. I still was not sleeping. And I'm like, I'm just really done with the allopathic, the Western philosophy of medicine. So I began down the rabbit hole and actually 20 years ago spent $20,000 on a system that I had no idea how to use, but they told me that I would get all my training.
Wow.
So when I went and picked up my system, I had like 4 hours of training, and then I get a call from my family saying my brother was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So I'm like, I'm gonna heal him. Like, I'm
Oh,
gonna go home. And I packed up my two-seater with my little dog. I took my computer and I went to Chicago, knocked on his door, and he cried and said, I knew you would come. And I
oh,
just said, I
Joyce.
got your back. So I cleaned out the house. I got rid of all the toxic foods. I bought I went down the rabbit hole of all that I knew about how to beat cancer with mind, body, spirit. And my personal friend Ursula, she was given 3 months to live 28 years ago.
Wow.
She has been my role model of discipline and understanding and really looking under the hood of our computer system
Yeah.
because I really believe we are the most amazing computer that God could ever have made in the human body. And once we listen to our body, what does it tell us when we put something in our mouth? What does it tell us when we're really stressed at work? We don't get sleep. We don't have the right supplements. So it's a vast system that's really so easy that it connects with, and I do clients all around the world. Hence, I met SaraSai maybe, I don't know, 6, 8 months ago. And then we connected and I really bought her spiritual program because I really wanted a deeper connection with source. So when I found the balance of mind, body, and spirit, that I feel so great. I'm 65 years young. I don't get sick. I
Amazing.
am my own doctor, meaning I listen to what my body tells me. My system will tell me, you need fatty acids. Your body doesn't like that chicken I ate. So what it does is it doesn't fix you, it doesn't fix me, but it's educational
Yeah.
and it shifts the energetic field and what is going on right now, what is chronic issues, what are immediate acute stressors, and it just sends you that frequency using quantum physics to reboot, rebalance, so that you can reconnect your mind, body, spirit to where it's supposed to be. So it's just been an amazing journey. And through that process, not only do I do biofeedback, but I've learned access consciousness. I got Qigong certified. I just got level 1 certification with sound healing, because now I'm opening up more of the Pandora's box of what else is possible
Hmm.
as we, when we want to fix what's going on with us and we're not learning how to pay attention to what our body tells us. So that's really it in a nutshell of
Wow.
what.
No, we're quite new to each other. We got to know each other through my program and through our fabulous mentor, Joel Bauer, who
Right?
I'm eternally grateful for introducing us to each other. One of
Yeah.
the great things that come out of working with him is the sense of community where extraordinary relationships and joint venture partnerships become possible as people who have extraordinary expertise find each other. I love everything that you're saying. You mentioned your brother. So was he open to this?
You know what? At that point, he was so ill because I was talking to him. We talked every week, and he kept telling me he had really bad acid reflux. And I'm like, Perry, you're not listening, and I didn't know enough, but I was on my journey of healing myself. So I
Mhm.
knew what I knew about me. Hey, we got the same DNA, we have the same family tree. And I never had acid reflux because I've always paid attention to my diet. However, he would say he ate a bottle of Tums every day. And I said, babe,
Wow. No.
I said, your body is telling you that you're too acidic. And
Mhm.
he really didn't want to listen. He didn't want to change his diet. He was a partier. He drank every night. I think it was too much acid from the beer, the yeast, high fat diet, etc. So when I knocked on his door, of course, he opened it, with welcoming arms, and he cried. He cried in my arms saying, I knew you would come because I work out of my house. And my profession in the past was an interior designer, and I work from my home so I can work from anywhere.
Yeah, right.
So he was very open, and I got his permission. I ran sessions on him every other day.
And did they reveal what was going on in his body at that time? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh no, I'll never forget it because it told me he had cancer everywhere in his body. It told me, but I really, look, I'm Italian, we're Italian, high, feisty, opinionated, bold.
I'm
So
Irish. I'm the same.
okay, well, I'm Irish too. So there you go. I got double whammy. So it told me, and I really spent a lot of time with emotions because that's who I was. My physical body is so strong, but my breakdown was my mental emotional health. So
Right.
as I started learning the emotional panels, anger, resentment, hatred, betrayal, all were up for him. And he went through a terrible divorce. And then he had a breakup with an ex girlfriend and took his 5-year-old son away from him. He was so angry, and it showed up everywhere, and it really freaked me out to the point where I literally have never done this really full time as a business until the
Mm,
last 3 years,
yeah.
because I had a job and I was making enough money, and
Mm.
people thought I had 3 heads. People thought, my sisters used to say, oh, she does some kind of voodoo thing, and I'm like, oh, thank you, because people didn't understand 20 years ago. Now it's so much different. Acupuncture, chiropractic, that's mainstream today. But 20 years ago, I had this machine, this device that scanned the body, and I can tell you what's going on, educate you, train you to make lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
So through my brothers, because I even prayed to God, give it to me. I would take his disease because I'm like, I don't care. I wasn't leaving three children behind.
Yeah. Oh,
And little did I know that, it's everybody's journey, and it was his journey because my brother really had 9 lives. Like, he could have died so many other times
right.
that he just wasn't up for the fight. So I literally put him to bed every night. I took him to the doctor. I bathed him. I massaged him, and I worked on him. I'm gonna get upset. I worked on him every other day, and it was so much information in my face
Mm.
that made me realize that I need to change my life 100%. And I
Wow.
went home after he died and I did a complete detox and I never looked back. I stopped partying. I didn't, I might have a couple social drinks a couple times a year. Like I really now know how to feed my mind, body, and spirit. If I want to have longevity, I want to have a healthy life. I don't even have medical insurance. I have not had insurance for 20 years.
Mm.
Why?
Yeah.
Because I walk my talk and I do what I'm supposed to, that I can coach my clients about if you just pay attention and learn what your body is saying. We have all these herbs and vitamins and supplements and even mindset. Like if we put it all together that we walk cohesively, there's no way we can die with a major disease. We will just die in old age, like we're just ready to go. And I plan on living well past 100 years because I'm not going to stop. I mean, and I get stronger and stronger and healthier as I get older. And it's
I
just
think
such a beautiful place to be in.
yeah, I totally get what you're saying. There's so many things you and I can talk about, I'll tell you, because I see mirrored in your experience what my profession experience, people don't know me yet, but I had a career singing opera, but I also had a career working with people undergoing cancer treatments and people at end of life transitions for 35 plus years. And I saw the same thing, that they were dependent on allopathic medicine and on the doctors say so. I mean, the doctors have relevant information. Many doctors are amazing, but they don't have 360-degree view on the holistic necessity for the body to work, mind, body, and spirit all together. I was so interested in integrative medicine. I trained as a master healer. I did some sound healing, quantum touch healing, Reiki mastery. Um, but I became really interested in what else was going on in integrative medicine, and basically developed a great awareness of other choices that the general population were not aware of. But one thing I noticed is you could give everybody all the information, but you can't change who they are until they are ready to change. And in a
Correct.
way, that's the sad thing with your brother, that he had the opportunity with your expertise and with your commitment, but he wasn't able to make the change. Because I think, in a way, people are not really aware of the possibility of living our limitless capacity, in our divine potential. We're so attached to thinking that the body is limited and not that we can heal from within, making
Correct.
conscious choices. And it
Correct.
seems to me that the biofeedback empowers conscious choice by giving you information, directing you to the right choices and the right
Correct.
solutions, not diagnosing, not curing,
No,
pointing to the
because
solutions.
I can't cure anyone and I don't diagnose. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
I might even read something on the screen and they'll say, "What is that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm moving on to the next thing." I write it down. I go, "You need to do your own research."
yeah,
Because when someone wants to just sit back and expect, "Oh, I'm fixed," it just really doesn't work that way.
no,
It's about education, it's about understanding your own body and listening. And with my brother, he came to me too late and I had just bought the machine. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was told that I can't hurt anybody. The machine has markers in it, or I would block
mm,
it and I would shut down the computer because I clicked too many times because I was a beginner. But what I do know is that I worked on myself and him and two of my other friends, and we all got amazing healing from it because I've really realized at the end of the day, we get dis-ease in our body because our mental and emotional stress and health is totally out of sync with
yeah,
the rest of our being. And I do know there's not one pill in this world that really fixes anything. It might put a band-aid on something, but I don't want to be on drugs anymore. I take nothing
yeah.
other than a pig bovine for my thyroid that I have never been able to balance my thyroid. until the last 10 years because I finally found a great pill that is more holistically geared versus just a statin that is just messing up my liver and not doing anything anyway.
Yeah. But you said your brother's name is Perry. I think Perry's extraordinary legacy is the future you're now um, opening the door to for people who delve deeper into this understanding. The people are lucky enough, actually, to have the level of consciousness, of conscious choice, to grasp at the opportunity that the work you're doing and the work we're going to do in this program together. Because if you only relate to the body and the mind, you have a detachment from your spirit, from your soul's compass, your inner voice that will not allow you to see beyond the linear allopathic model for well-being. And it's not even a model for well-being because most of the time it's fixing what's broken.
Right.
People
Right.
don't live consciously making choices, being willing to take ownership. And I think I don't blame people. I think it's because
Oh,
there isn't a vision of what's possible existing as a
well, they don't even
reality.
know, to tell you the truth. Most
Exactly.
people don't know what else is possible,
Exactly.
and whatever that reason is. Because I'm not a researcher either. Like if I would have never met that woman at the beach and I went home and I was so desperate for help. Like I was the most stressed person I knew. I was beaten. I was overweight. I was going through a divorce. My heart was broken. And when she delivered every thought that was going on in my brain that she didn't even know who I was blown away at the accuracy. And this is what I share with people. They might not like to hear what I say, but knowledge is power. Knowledge is for action. Knowledge isn't for enlightenment. And like, I would rather know today that I'm doing something wrong so that I make a conscious choice
Yeah.
on, like I have major food sensitivities. Three in 2020, March of 2020, I was 186 pounds. Today I am 153.
Mm.
And I
Looking
and I
amazing.
hope,
I mean, you look amazing. Wow.
but I did my own work. I know what my food sensitivities are. They're gluten. But guess what I eat when I'm really stressed out?
Pizza.
Pasta, bread and butter, and pizza. I'm Italian.
You're not unusual in that.
No, it's my go-to. Just like some people eat ice cream. Some people will go and eat a whole bag of cookies.
Mm.
That's not my thing. Every meal I ate carbs, and I love carbs. So they made me so happy. But I can tell you 30 minutes later, I would be depressed
Yeah.
because I get bloated and I have joint pain. I realized that I was waddling left to right instead of walking to the bathroom
Wow.
when I woke up in the morning. And my light bulb went on and I said, it's not fat, it's inflammation, really. And
Yeah.
inflammation is the leading cause of most every disease out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can reduce the inflammation in your body, if you can alkaline the body,
Yeah.
there's no disease cannot live. Disease
Mm.
can't survive. It,
Yeah.
it will have to leave the vessel, right? And you know that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do know it. You know, it's really exciting for me because I don't feel that there is feel that there is a program like what you and I are putting together in reboot, rebalance,
And reconnect.
and reconnect to what? To your divine potential, to your true birthright.
Yes.
Symbiosis between mind, body, and spirit all working together. People
Yeah.
don't even know what that looks like,
Or they don't even know it's possible
or it's
because,
possible. Yeah.
and I remember when we're stuck in fear or we're stuck in isolation like this last 3 years, like
Yeah.
it's so weird. I'm so used to being by myself. I find myself, other than leaving the house to go work out or get a couple groceries, I don't leave my house. And it's like, this is not healthy. The body needs natural vitamin D. The body needs interaction, touch, community, socialization. And I just find that our connection together will help reboot, really rebalance and reconnect with you, with themselves
Mm-hmm.
first.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what's really missing. especially most women. I tend to work with a lot of women, men, they come and they're attracted to doing the same work, but it really tends to be a lot of women. And a lot of women, I tell them, I'm like, you can't be last on your list.
Yeah.
The tank has no gas. And if the tank has no gas, what good are you? If you're not happy, no one's, mama not happy, no one's happy.
Yeah.
So, in those sayings, the old cliches, they're really true, is that we spend so much money on our exterior,
Mm-hmm.
but not enough on the interior.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole purpose is, and connecting with you in the story of being on someone's deathbed. I saw my brother take his last breath, and he had so many regrets.
Yeah.
And it's like, how many times, and I'm sure you can tell story after story of
Mm.
how many people leave this earth plane filled with woulda, shoulda, coulda, and just don't reconnect with loved ones or say I'm sorry or forgiveness or forgive themselves for their bad choices or what have you without regret. If I died, which I won't for a very long time, but I really have no regrets in my life. I have lived my life on purpose
Yeah.
and filled with, you know, I've been, some people say I'm very fortunate. I'm not married and don't have children, but I think everyone that comes in my life becomes my child, becomes my special person, because it's always about a heart to heart connection for me. And I derive so much pleasure out of seeing my clients, my friends, my family, like really enhance their life through health and well-being first.
Yeah.
The money will come, but if we don't have health, we have nothing. There is no more time. There is no more extra time to spend with your grandchildren. Like, people, when they retire, they leave this plane. What was the purpose? Was it about money? It shouldn't be about money, you guys.
No.
It's really about, um, bringing, at least my purpose is bringing value to everyone I touch, love them where they're at, help them if they need a hand. I used to push myself on people.
What do you
Especially my
mean?
family, because they didn't want nothing to do with me. They thought I was crazy doing this. But at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, you got to be you and I got to be me. So, but regret, like, why don't you share a story about, like how bad it is to be on your last dying couple minutes of breath filled with regret.
Mm.
Do they really go to heaven? Like, it's just like, what is their mindset all about? I can't even imagine, because you've got to be a living angel. I could not do that. I really could not do that, because I think I would die with everybody that passed in front of me. I couldn't do it. I don't have the heart.
Well, for me, it was a great privilege because that started with my own mom. And I actually dreamed about her. I was in London, I was at music college, and I had a dream about her. I was very close to my mom, and I dreamt about her, and she was very distraught in the dream. And I was reassuring her in the dream, don't worry, mom, I'll be there. I will take care of everything. This was unusual. I never thought of myself as psychic or anything like that. But as soon as I woke up, obviously I called home, and my family hadn't wanted to have me be worried, but she'd been taken into hospital. They hadn't told me. And she was having a liver biopsy that day. And we had 6 weeks. I was home by that night. I flew home because I was already a nurse at that point.
Right.
And although I was now at music college going in another direction, I knew that a liver biopsy was serious. And so by that evening, she was given a prognosis of 6 weeks. Here's where the mind comes in. A prognosis is one person telling you you will die in 6 weeks. And guess what happens? People die in 6 weeks. This
My
is how
brother was
powerful the
given
mind
seven
is.
months and he
Right.
died 7 months to his diagnosis. It's powerful, the mind, and how
Very
we,
powerful. Exactly. Yeah.
yes.
At that time, it's a long time ago now. That was 95. I didn't know an awful lot of what I know now because that was the beginning of that journey. I just stayed at home and I looked after her at home. I micromanaged everything so that she could be at home. And she decided not to leave the body at home because of our family. She didn't want it to be a sad thing for people in our home. So I
Right.
went in with her to a private nursing home for the last week. And I was in a state of joy when she left the body, because I knew her soul was finished with this life. And I was with her and did everything possible to help her. And I realized, wow, what we've just had here is an opportunity for closure. She
Right.
had her friends around for afternoon tea before she went into the private nursing home to say goodbye to everyone. I mean, really, she was in charge, in, in control, the way she always liked to be in life. She made all the choices for herself. She had time with each member of our family to make sure everybody was okay and resolved. And I realized, wow, this is what's possible in actually facing the end of life with togetherness, with love, with completion, with unity, and without regret. Her spirit really was similar to my own, full of joy, but she was tired of life on some level. The body only follows the mind also, and the soul. When you have become finished with this life, you can start exiting without even consciously choosing. I was just complete. I sang at her funeral, and within a year, it was my dad. He had never been ill in all the time up until she left the body. And then he got cancer. And so he had a year so within a year and a half, my father, both in their mid 60s. I went home and spent that year with him because I wanted all the time I could have with him.
Of
I adored
course.
my parents, I would have done anything to help them. And I began to see, wow, I don't actually have any fear of death. I
I
don't
don't
believe
either.
I
I
don't
don't
believe in
either.
death in some way. It's like, yes, of course there is death. There's death of
Right.
the body, but not of who you are.
Right.
There's death of the identity, of the character that you play, of the
This
role.
avatar in this life.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And so there was an understanding already from a deep spiritual awareness within me where I didn't have grieving then because everything had been done in an optimal way where there were no regrets. And then I realized, wow, everybody needs to have this because people don't live consciously in relationship. And you asked about the regrets. I mean, that's why I wrote my book, Angelo de la Vie, because I saw a consistency over 35 years then of people, regardless of their material or worldly acclaim or
Right.
success, there was a commonality in how people approached the end of life. Put people in pajamas and, the ego takes a hike kind of thing.
This is true.
We're all the same in a pair of pajamas or a theater gown. And
Yes.
everything that you thought you were somehow doesn't carry the same weight anymore. People relate to you like you're just someone else in the bed. And yeah, and I realized, wow, I've got something that can really help people in understanding, first of all, why are we born? What are we here to accomplish? And how can we live and die with grace? And I'm not talking anything religious, a deeper spiritual awareness of your own soul's compass,
Correct.
the
I was going to
essence of
just
who
say
you are.
internal compass. So
Yes,
same
yeah, your
thing.
GPS, your GPS
Yes.
that guides you through your life if you only pay attention to it, your inner voice. But we're so used to the cacophony of noise in this egocentric world
You
that
can
we
call it the
don't
shit
hear.
show of life right now.
Right. Yeah, that it's like you don't get
Because
to
it
hear.
is to me, and it's not my reality. What's been going on for the last 3 years is just really not my reality. I choose to pick how I live. I choose to pick who I spend my time with. I choose to work on being happy, like from Dr. David, Hawkins,
Oh, yes.
vibrationally, if we live in love, peace, and joy, those are the highest vibrations. And I try to share with my clients when you live in fear and anger, abandonment, betrayal, which, hey, I've been there. I've had to learn my own
Yeah.
lessons these last 20 years, but you vibrate at a higher frequency, and guess what, wonderful things come to you when you vibrate on a high level.
Yeah.
When we're stuck in fear, we're down here. If
Mm-hmm.
I used to say to my healer friends, why do I keep resonating angry men to me? And it was a guy, and he was doing some access consciousness on me, and he goes, Pellegrini, you know the answer. And I'm like, I don't understand it. He goes, you can only resonate what you are. And I'm like, I didn't like that. I'm like, I'm not angry. It was not the truth. My anger was so deep and suppressed from childhood that I learned how to zip it. I internalized it, and
Yeah.
people would sit next to me saying, I love you, but I can't stand my energy be like,
Right.
because I never learned how to communicate effectively. We never got to talk at home when I
Mm,
was raised.
mm,
My dad, his way of, I don't even know the word. I get in trouble. He would ignore me for 30 days.
yeah.
Then it just totally shut me down all
Wow.
my life until I started maybe 45, 48. And then when I got the system, and sometimes I haven't learned politically correctness because I kind of blurt out, and people are like, God, you're so brutally honest. And I'm like, I don't know how else to be. It's either I'm shut down or I communicate. So now it's the lessons of, delivering information from the heart, being cognizant of what I say, because if I was on the other end of my words, how would I feel?
Mm,
Like it's all that
yeah.
reprogramming of we are who we are when we were raised. We have been conditioned,
Yeah.
and that conditioning could be right, wrong, or indifferent. So I chose, I don't like that. So, and I literally didn't have a good relationship with my father. But 6 months before he died, I was the bigger person, picked up the phone, asked forgiveness. I want to see you. I spent a week with him. He had another heart attack, and I really showed him who I was. And it was the best week of my life because he cried like a baby. He said, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm sorry. And I'm like, all I wanted was your love. And he goes, all I wanted was your love. And I'm like, Dad, you're the adult. I
Yeah.
was a child. And I go, and I've never felt that my entire life. Hence, the two marriages I've had, I married two of my fathers.
Mm,
And they were not the right fit for me. But as I see and you go back about all the choices that we made, would we do it differently? I know I would.
mm,
But at this playing field, it's like I like what I see in the mirror. I like who I am, all the bumps and bruises and whatever else. But it's about continuing that journey of elevating and working. We all have things to work on. We're ever evolving and pulling that onion back. And I'm here to share all my warts, all my ups and downs with my clients of this is how I overcame anger, this is how I overcame lack of forgiveness, this is how I overcame how to communicate effectively and from the heart, that you don't have to say mean things. You can say the same thing with a tone of voice and from your heart, instead of being angry and being ugly and projecting. Because guess what? Words are very hard for somebody to forget
yeah.
because all they do is play over and over in our mind or our mind's eye and in our brain. So it's about committing to living this best life, but we need our health first, or else we won't be here long. We really need to take control of our well-being, mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah. And I know you know from the work we did in my program that it requires presence.
Yes.
It requires presence for choice to show up. And what happens is people just get run by their character. They get run by the story of who they think they are, I, me, and mine, by
Right.
identification with the role that they are cast in. If you imagine that we're all in some kind of divine drama, and everybody's given their lines and their entries and exits and their cues, and you got a part to play, and we play the part to perfection. And if you imagine that every single person who's in your life has been cast in that particular role for your benefit, always for your benefit. That's a tough one for some people to
It is
understand,
a tough one, but
but
it's
it's
so
true.
true.
It's
It's
true.
so true.
And if people,
Like,
I
I'm
mean, if
like,
you
what did I
imagine,
do that for? What lesson did I learn? Aha. And it's interesting being 65, it takes me weeks maybe a month before I finally get the aha, okay, bad choice, versus years of repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So it is really paying attention. Are you learning your life lessons? Because guess what? They will continually show up until you make the right choice.
And this is where, you have with your system, you have the rebalancing to a T, because you're able to literally provide all the information showing the imbalance. And the reboot is the intention to take on this potential for living in complete harmony, mind, body, and spirit. That's what rebooting is. It's like
Yep.
realizing, okay, something's not working here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put myself through this to like really reevaluate what's the optimal potential for this body mind experience.
Right.
And this soul's journey. Why am I here? What am I here to fulfill? And how can I make sure I do before my time is up? Because we don't know that we've got it tomorrow, that our time won't be just the plug pulled and your time is up, no warning, as
Exactly.
we all really understand. But what makes the difference for people is having the choice to go beyond reactivity, having the choice to be present rather than reacting, responding consciously. So
Right.
you have to find a way of going within and living from that inner beingness rather than being out in the world all the time where your energy is externally focused and
Right.
where you become prey to the good and bad opinions of others, where basically you're really not living your life, you're living the life you think you have to live to win whatever love or results you want to win in your life to be able to feel okay. But
Right.
ultimately, what is what are our values, what are our deeper values, and why are we here? There is a deeper spiritual resonance you need to tune into to start living consciously in order to fulfill in this lifetime. Because in this time, they call it Kali Yuga at the moment, time of great darkness. And anybody looking out into the world can see we're
Yeah.
challenged on so many levels. So,
Yes.
how to reconnect to that internal compass that no matter what life throws at you, no matter what challenges, that you are empowered and inspired, and you have a vision to take you beyond all challenges. And that's what the promise of our program is going to be, right? This is what's possible. When you live from
Correct.
the inside out rather than the outside in, this is
Correct.
what becomes possible. So I am
Correct.
so thrilled at what I see as just the most extraordinary potential in this program together. I can't wait for us to get started. I don't even know how people are going to understand what's possible here because there's no model for this yet, really.
Correct. Correct.
There's no
Correct.
model for this yet. And you can't explain to people in just information. They need to experience for themselves, which
Well,
is
they
why
need to do the work. At the
they
end
need
of
to
the
do the work.
day,
Yeah,
no change happens without taking action.
yeah.
And I so appreciate you and
Too.
connecting.
You too.
And I think we'll continue on because I would like us to reconnect maybe in the next couple days.
Mm.
And I would like to interview you so you can share your experience and share your story about what recently happened with you
Oh,
so
yeah.
that we can actually, from your medical background, which I love,
Mm.
to our work together over the last, what, 2, 3 weeks in a bit of a little healing crises, that
Major
what
healing
is,
crisis, not a little
yeah.
bit of a
Okay,
major.
well, I don't want to
uh,
say that. Okay, so you can say that.
yeah, but through no fault of my own, what
Right.
I went through a major accident a few weeks ago, almost a month ago now. And it was almost like, okay, I'm being put through this program now. So I get to see the true value of your work and how it fits, that I cannot bring this to other people without
Right.
experiencing it myself. And wow, have I
Absolutely.
seen the potential of this work now?
So we'll
Uh,
share that for the next
mm,
video because I don't want to give too much away. And
yeah.
we know people don't have the attention span, and I know it's hard for me to sit for someone talking for an hour. So
Yeah.
we'll cut it here.
Okay.
But thanks for listening to us, SaraSai. I adore you. One day
You
we
too,
will meet in
Joyce.
person, but I feel
Yeah.
like I've known you a lifetime already.
Same.
And you and I will be on each other's pond and we will see each other in 2023
Yes.
for sure.
Absolutely.
So bye everybody. Thanks for listening to
Yeah. Thanks.
SaraSai and Joyce Pellegrini, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.